Kang Dynasty, known as Kang War, is when Kang arrived and started multiple battles across the world to prove a point. The planet Earth needed to submit to him to make him their ruler. Well, the Avengers were fighting off-world, and the world did just that. They surrendered to Kang after he decimated the capital. This is Comicstorian. I create audio dramas of your favorite comic books, leaving out enough that there is still something for you to collect, be it extra plot, context, or artwork. All alterations are for copyright purposes. Don't forget to check out our long-standing sponsors of G Fuel, where you can use the code COMICS to get 10% off of your order, or Shortboxed, a great app that will allow you to start your graded comic book collection today. Click the link down below to enter our current contest to win one. Today we're going to be covering issues 11 onward. Earth. Wonder Man has been captured, brought to a prison colony outside of Los Angeles. And across the planet, Kang's forces have stopped what small resistances remained. Simon is pushed into the camp, a collar dampening his powers. "Simon!" Wanda shouts as she runs forward, embracing him. "I was taken into space. They shipped me down here weeks ago," she explains, and the two begin to work together, helping those in the camp as best as they can. With Wanda explaining that some of her hex powers still work, believing that the collars can't suppress them because they're magic. It's a few days later that some of the prisoners knock a guard from his hover disc, stealing it and flying over the wall. "All right, did you see that? Way to go, guys. Way to show them," Simon shouts, but Wanda shakes her head, explaining that it won't get them far. More guards show up, holding up their weapons against the heads of two innocents. "Attention prisoners, surrender immediately and no one will be punished for your actions but yourselves. Continue your attempt to flee, and these prisoners will die in your stead." The guards shout, but the prisoners continue to run and the two innocents are shot. It doesn't take long for the others to become captured and return to the camp. Wanda explains to Simon that it always doubles the number of those who try to escape, and she turns away as the rifles go off. That night, the two of them sit under the stars, talking about how shocking the world has become in the last month. "Things will get better. Kang will be defeated," Simon tells her, reminding her that the resistance is out there. She leans in close, kissing Wonder Man. They both pull away and she turns, and they talk about the relationship, how they both have seemingly moved on without even realizing it. "What we had, it's over. It's been over for a while, but we pretended," he tells her with a nod, and they both agree. Neither is mad about it, but they know that they'll remain friends, and they sit back down under the stars. "What's important right now is how we're going to get out of here," Simon tells her. He tells her that she could use her powers to remove his collar, and that he could take off with her. She shakes her head, reminding him what the guards are due to the camp, but Simon has an idea. The next day, Simon rips off Wanda's collar, allowing her to use the full might of her magic to knock the guards away. Simon breaks through the wall, creating a hole for them to escape through, and they fight their way through the guards almost free. But the guards appear behind them with two prisoners, ordering them to stop. Wanda can't allow them to kill innocents for her and turns back, begging them to take her instead. But Wonder Man turns back, demanding the guards face him and him alone, and he fights valiantly. The guards overwhelm him and beat him down, and his beaten body is dragged before an image of Kang, who declares that because he had the honor to face his guards alone, only he would be executed. Wanda is chained, forced to watch as Simon is tied to a post, and the guards aim their weapons and open fire. When the energy dissipates, Simon is no more. Wanda cries in anguish, falling to her knees in the spot where Simon once stood, and the guards begin to gather around her. "Want me to clonk their heads together?" Simon whispers in her ear, making Wanda smile. "That won't be necessary, Simon, but it's nice to hear your voice," she tells him. It was last night that Simon had come up with the plan. A fake escape attempt would buy him the chance to be executed alone, and Wanda would use her powers to make sure that a new collar that was put on him wouldn't work, allowing him to use his powers to protect himself from the guards' weapons, and Wanda to make him invisible. But Wanda wouldn't leave the other prisoners. And now free, Simon escapes to find the remaining resistance and heroes of the world. Now, far over in Siberia, Kang and Marcus watch the battle far below, with Kang smiling. "Look at it, Marcus. Their defense is shattered. Their lines are broken. There is nothing left for them to fight. It is poetry." Kang sighs, but the joy of the moment is destroyed for Kang as one of his servants' droids floats to him with dire news of trouble at the Imperial prison. "Strike fiercely, Avengers! Thou art almost through!" Thor shouts as the rest of the Avengers continue to hammer at the walls. The wall finally crumbles, revealing an imprisoned Janet Van Dyne. "Jan! That psycho actually trussed you up like a beast of burden!" he shouts as he races towards her. She asks about the other prisoners, but Hank hugs her, telling her that the rest of the resistance is freeing them. But she begins to argue with them. Don't you see? I surrendered on behalf of the Avengers as a group. Kang only keeps the kid gloves on as long as the other side plays by his rules. If we break the surrender, he'll retaliate, murder entire cities. She shouts at them, but Thor swings Mjolnir, opening a portal for them to escape. We stand prepared to fight back against the Tyrant King, he says, motioning her through the portal. The heroes all step through and entering into the hidden fortress of the former Master of Earth, where the rest of the heroes have gathered to fight back against Kang. How many will die if we fail again? She asks, but the President of the United States steps out of the shadows, telling her that they have no choice. That if there is even the faintest bit of hope, they need to try and free the planet. And Janet nods. You're right, Mr. President. We'll strike back. We'll plan the strike for tomorrow. Tonight, I have some calls to make. Call in a few favors, she says. Meanwhile, on the dark side of the moon, the rest of the Avengers are still within the pyramid, with Triathlon still trying to learn how to use the ship to help them in their fight against Kang. Captain America urges him on, reminding him that they need to get home as quickly as possible. It takes some time, but Triathlon manages to figure out how to cloak and get the ship moving again. That night, the heroes take what time they can for themselves, talking with friends and loved ones, mentally prepared for the coming war the next day. And it's the following morning that Kang stands within his fortress on the eastern seaboard. He broadcasts a message to the entirety of his kingdom. People of North America, I speak to you now because your heroes have betrayed you. The Avengers have broken their surrender, violated their oaths, invaded Imperial possessions. They will be punished, and they will be allowed to surrender once more and be executed, but not until after 2 American cities have been destroyed as retribution for their treachery. And then every hour that passes without their surrender, another city will fall. The image of Kang appears over the cities of Denver and Atlanta, and it looks down. Denver, Atlanta, make your peace with your gods. Your heroes have brought this upon you, he declares as his hands begin to glow. But the forces are spread thin and around the world as more walls rise up, attacking Kang and his armies. Out of the oceans, the Atlanteans rise, attacking the land. In Siberia, the Presence and Starlight lead a new assault, using her powers to transform Kang's armies into their own. At his fortress, a wall explodes inward and Kang turns to his son. We shall withdraw to our base and make our displeasure known from there, he says, and the two of them board an escape craft and quickly fly away. Kang looks out the window, pondering how the Avengers could have possibly defeated the Master of the World, gaining access to his technology. Marcus doesn't dare look at his father, remembering how he helped Carol Danvers pull that one off. I'm not in a position to guess, of course. You have often praised them as resourceful. Perhaps it's as simple as that, he says as he glances at his father. But back at their base, Janet is preparing the next stage of the assault. Okay, people, we have a slim chance, she says, explaining that Hank, Black Knight, and Stingray will stay in the base to use the Master's tech to continue to fight Kang's army, while the rest of them will head into space to assault Kang's base. But the base begins to shake and rumble as Kang is now opening fire. He appears as an image over the mountains, declaring that he can track their signals to get an idea of where they are hiding. He's firing blind! We've still got a shot! Janet shouts, and she begins to issue commands, telling the others to get ready for their assault. But far overhead, Kang's attack is suddenly interrupted as his ship is shaking violently. He turns in shock. What in the eternal void? He snaps as he looks out the window to see the pyramid approaching them. Way to go, Triathlon! That lets him know that we're here. Captain America shouts as Triathlon fires again. Anger fills Kang as he steps out of his command post, ordering Marcus to prepare the hologram projector. There is no end to these interruptions! I'll deal with this personally! He snaps, entering into his chambers, putting on his hologram suit that allows him to fight as his projections. On board the pyramid, Cap turns to Triathlon. I've got an idea. Let me know if the pyramid can do this, he says. And Kang's image appears in the vastness of space, beginning to move forward, reaching out for the pyramid. But a hand is suddenly put on his massive shoulder. Now, you miserable, jacked up little Hitler. Let's end this, a massive Captain America says, as Kang turns to him in shock. The heroes of Earth have headed into space, readying for the final battle. Aboard the pyramid, Captain America takes a punch and staggers, but he is still getting used to fighting with a hollow projection. He's better than I remember, Cap says as he spits out some blood, but he turns back, knocking Kang aside. Marcus is watching as his father is battling against Captain America, reporting to him how the battles below are going. But the ship is suddenly rocked as blasts from the Earth slam into Kang's ship, with the rest of the Avengers not far behind. The image of Cap punches Kang hard in the stomach. "This is where it ends, Kang. Your murderous invasion, your domination of Earth. It's over, Kang. Over!" He snarls, but Kang punches back, telling Cap that no matter what, the Avengers have lost. "So fight to the end. Fight! And lose. Lose your idiotic pyramid, your Arctic base, and your lives. All of it!" The Avengers continue to hammer the ship, trying desperately to get through its shields, while Cap continues to fight Kang. It's Iron Man who realizes that the shields are using a shifting energy structure, which means that they have to hit it all in one spot with everything that they've got. "Give it too many variables to deal with. Too many to adapt to," he shouts at them. Above them, Kang grabs Captain America by the throat. "You see, Captain, you may be the finest warrior of the age, but Kang is a warrior of all ages!" He hisses with glee, but Captain America refuses to quit. Suddenly, Kang is gone, and he's shaken free of the projector as his ship takes another hit. "Blast! Our shields may be holding, but the pounding we're taking is weakening them, shaking all of our base," he snaps as he pulls himself off the floor. Marcus moves to help his father, asking whether they should jump through time, rebuild their forces, and return moments after they left. But Kang waves him away. "No. We'll fight the battle before us rather than resort to chrono guile. Time is our compass, Marcus, not our weapon." He reminds him that he is prepared for all of this, though he still doesn't know how the Avengers managed to beat the Master. Once again, Marcus doesn't even look at his father. "I'm sure that it'll be irrelevant, sire. You will triumph over them anyway," he says finally, and Kang pauses for a moment before once again turning to his control. "As long as I have what matters, my strength, my skill, the battle before me, as long as I have those and my son beside me, then it is all as it should be. Come, Marcus, let's show these fools how to wage the war." Aboard the Pyramid, Triathlon turns to Captain America, informing him that the souls that have been trapped in the dark ship are begging to be freed, though that would mean that they wouldn't have the power for the Pyramid any longer. "Can we use their souls as a weapon against their will?" he asks, and Captain America looks away for a moment, knowing that they shouldn't, but also knowing that they need the power. Tremont is shocked. "Stop! You can't do this, you fools! Earth lies in the balance. You cannot scruple at anything to save it!" He shouts at them when suddenly his eyes begin to glow and he rises out of his cage, telling them that he was absorbing more energy to escape. "They're aliens, damn you, aliens! Who cares about their souls?" He shouts and he explodes out of the pyramid, flying towards Kang's ship, declaring that he will do what needs to be done. A laser blast then hits him, and with his dying breath, he uses the last of his power to blast Kang's ship, destroying its shield. He did it! The shield's down! Everyone move! The front door's open! Iron Man shouts to his team as everyone speeds towards Kang's ship. The Avengers are within the ship within minutes, fighting against Kang's forces, using their energy blast to cut a path through it. Meanwhile, Carol is fighting her way through the ship. "Warbird here, Wasp. I'm open. I can take it." She quickly finds herself at the ship's power core. The Scarlet Centurion stands in her way. "What are you waiting for? Do it, Warbird!" Jack shouts, and Carol nods, leaping into the power core, feeling the energy swirling around her as she is absorbing it. But it proves too much, and she begins to struggle, finally releasing it, allowing the energy to explode through the ship, ripping it apart as the Avengers continue their fight. "We must go, Avengers. We must abandon the structure, lest we be consumed by its death throes." Vision shouts to his friends, and the heroes quickly move to escape the ship, while Kang moves through the destruction. "Where is he? I can't abandon him. He's gotta go. Gotta take his place," he mutters, and he turns to find Marcus rushing towards him, begging his father to get to the escape pod. But Kang shakes his head. "No, you go. I'll stay here," he says, and he tells Marcus that he is his heir, and that he must take his place as the ruler of the Imperium. "I am not merely your father, but I am also your commander, and I am ordering you to escape," he says as he pushes his son into one of the pods and hits the controls. "I have all a man truly needs. Farewell, Marcus. Bring credit to your father's name," he says as the pod blasts out of the ship. The ship continues to explode all around Kang as it plummets from the skies, falling towards the Earth. The ship crashes on the Earth, with the Avengers quickly traveling to its point of impact, and Captain America staring at the destruction. "There were more deaths, more blood on our consciences than on his," he says as they land. The hatch explodes out of the ship and Kang staggers out, his armor torn, a sword at his hands. Well, come on! Come and take me if you can! Kang surrenders to no man. Captain America nods, hefting his shield and stepping forward. The others try to join him, but Thor stops them. This doth be Captain America's battle, he tells Warbird. She turns, arguing that they should just beat Kang and ignore honor. But Thor shakes his head. It'll be Captain America's battle, not due to the respect for the foe, but because Captain America will do all that is needed. Kang bellows with rage, leaping at Cap, slashing downward with his sword, meeting the hero's shield. Cap blocks several blows, twisting and throwing Kang over his shoulder, and he tosses the shield, knocking the villain's sword out of his hands, leaping in for a powerful kick. They trade blows back and forth, but anger fills Captain America as he thinks of all the death that Kang has caused, and he hits him across the face with the shield, following it up with another blow that cracks Kang's helmet. The man staggers, swaying on his feet. Well struck, Captain. You are truly worthy of this great... He stammers until finally dropping at Captain America's feet. The other Avengers join Cap, and with the Jack of Hearts asking if they've won. Cap shakes his head and looks at the destruction that Kang has caused. Look around, Jack. Nobody won here, he says with a heavy heart. A Quinjet arrives so that they can take Kang into custody, and as they fly over the country, the Avengers discuss the long process of rebuilding after the war. They finally arrive in New York, with Jack getting everyone's attention and pointing out the window, because below them, the people of New York have gathered in the streets, cheering for the heroes that have saved them and finally defeated the tyrant. All around the world, the people are being freed from Kang's prison colonies, cheering for the heroes that fought for and alongside them. The war has finally ended. Later, Kang is sitting quietly in a prison cell. He is the only prisoner within this facility, far beneath the surface of the earth, yet he is quiet, content. He built an empire and won great victories, and he is proud that his son will carry on in his stead. But a light appears as the wall is cut through next to him. Greetings, Father. Shall we go? Marcus asks as he steps through the hole in the wall. The warrior smiles at his father, explaining that they have trapped the entire prison within a null field that stops time between heartbeats. You should not have come, Marcus. I was content to stay here to allow the events to play out, Kang says, anger flashing in his eyes as he looks at his son. But Marcus tells his father that there is no need. The door is open for their escape. Kang stares for a moment before standing and leaving with his son. And back in the future, Kang stands on the deck of his home ship, once again donning his armor. You should not have rescued me, Marcus. I would have died, and my life would have been complete. My legend eternal. You could have become whatever you are to become. You are the best of them. You'd make your own legend, he says to his son, but Marcus still doesn't understand, as Kang finally sighs, leading his son to his quarters, finally ready to tell him the truth. Inside of Kang's private quarters, Marcus is shocked to find a long line of silvery coffins. It's a mausoleum, he gasps, looking down, and is shocked to find that each coffin is filled with a body that looks like Marcus. Yes, conquering this earth was never really the true aim, my son. It was my gift to you, to my heir, the finale to my legend, the dawn of yours, as we triumphed over my greatest foes. I thought it would be glorious, because you were the best of them. He explains that Marcus was not his first son, nor his 10th, that each before him had failed Kang in some way. And then there was you, but you betrayed me, he snarls. Whirling on Marcus, he reveals that he knew that Marcus had helped Warbird and the Avengers defeat the Master. And still, I would have forgiven you if you had come to me, admitted your actions. I gave you chances, but you lied. Marcus tries to apologize to his father, but Kang steps forward. Marcus, what's done is done. All that remains is going forward, he says, putting his hand on his son's shoulders. I was content to die, to let you go on, to become your own man, your own ruler, your own legend. It wouldn't have mattered then. Many great men began by betraying his father, he says, drawing a knife from his boot. But now I am here. He sighs, slipping the blade into Marcus's ribs and stepping back. And Kang the Conqueror cannot tolerate a traitor in his camp, not if he is to go on, he says coldly. Marcus stares at his father in shock as he sinks to his knees, words trying to escape his lips. But he collapses to the floor, dead. Kang stares at the cold body of his son, knowing that he couldn't tolerate a traitor. and the computer chimes asking if Kang would like to activate the next version of Marcus. But Kang reaches out, taking Marcus's head into his lap, looking down at his still face. "No, not yet," he whispers quietly. "Not yet." And that is the storyline of Kang Dynasty from beginning to end. Super long, like I told you guys, but here it is. We've done the whole thing right here at the Comicstorian channel, and I really doubt any of this is going to be going into the Kang Dynasty movie that's going to be made in 2025. But what do you think? Do you think they'll use any of this? The war, maybe the different battles going on? I don't know, but it'd be interesting to see. Imagine if they did the main movie and then we did a Disney Plus series for each of the mini battles happening. That could be interesting. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let me know in the comments down below what you want me to cover next year from Classic Marvel. See you guys next time.